my name is George, and I'd like to say first that there's a drug war in the northern part of Mexico and the southern part of California, and 70% of the profit that is made by the Mexican drug cartels that they use to buy guns and other drugs is made here in California, and it's primarily marijuana. And the legalization of marijuana in California for recreational use and medicinal use will improve the California economy greatly. The use of money to enforce drugs will decrease because people won't be arrested or tried for marijuana charges. Making it legal will reduce the number of cases because, of course, people won't get arrested for something that isn't illegal. And implementing the sales tax on marijuana sold in the state of California by licensed vendors will increase tax revenue by a lot. My first point is that the money used by law enforcement to decrease the drugs on the streets will decrease. In 2010, Jeffrey Myron, the head of economic studies at Harvard University, calculated that California spent $1.9 billion annually enforcing marijuana laws. And if you really think about it, $1.9 billion is a lot of money that could have gone to hospitals or other public establishments like schools that just went to just for these laws. Like, people don't follow them anyway. People smoke marijuana for medicinal and recreational use anyways. So like them fighting against it seems like a bad idea because they were just losing a lot of money. My second point is law enforcement will arrest those people for marijuana charges, and those people will get sent to already exhausted prison systems. In 2011, the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation of California reported that there are 120,632 people incarcerated. And according to the report done by the United States Department of Justice in 2001, it costs $62.25 a day to keep inmates incarcerated for a year, or for a day. Yeah, per day. And every year since then, it has increased an average of 6.2%. So in 2001, it was 62.25 a day for an inmate. But if you count inflation, it ends up being $74 a day. And that's a lot of money just for a day for a person just to sit around and not really do anything productive for society at all. I mean, we feed them, we give them like healthcare, and like make sure they're healthy. We give them a place to sleep, and they really don't do anything productive for society. They just sit around and count fingers, I guess. And, I don't know. They just probably just learn to be better as criminals, and paying $74 of taxpayer money for them to just get better as criminals seems kind of ridiculous. Making marijuana illegal would relieve pressure from courts and reduce costs. People wouldn't be arrested for possession or use if they aren't conducting a motorized vehicle, because nobody wants high drivers. But according to the National Conference of State Legislators of California, $77.77 billion were spent in state and county and local costs in 2006, and because of inflation also, and because there's more people now in the state, we obviously spend more. My third point is implementing a sales tax on marijuana sold in licensed establishments. Like those placed on tobacco products can increase tax revenue to the state. Marijuana is the number one cash crop in California, above all others. According to Time magazine, California's biggest cash crop is responsible for $14 billion a year in sales. and its second is milk and cream, and it only brings in $7.3 billion a year. So if we were to tax all of the marijuana that is sold in the state, we would have $14 billion extra. And if you subtract the $1.9 million that we spend just enforcing the laws, we'd have $12 billion. In
20 seconds.
My main claim was that legalizing marijuana for recreational and medicinal use would increase, would improve the economy of California. The use of money for drug enforcement laws will be saved. Marijuana would take off legalization would relieve pressure from courts and reduce costs for the infrastructure of courts. And marijuana taxation would increase the state's revenue.
All right, the claim has multiple parts to it. It is a conditional statement, and so that part's understandable. You do have some signposts on the main points in the body of the speech, so it's not that hard to follow, although the claims that you're presenting on a couple of those points need to be stated in a simpler way for an oral presentation, because sometimes the phrasing on them is pretty convoluted. The third one was, was a lot more straightforward. Your internal signposting is all right, so no problems there. The whole argument needs... You've got a lot of statistical information on costs, for example, but those costs are not necessarily identified as being related to marijuana expenditures. So, for instance, the $64 a day, which is actually $74 a day, is not identified as what percentage of the prison population is there for marijuana convictions, and that's the thing that's going to tell us what the revenues are going to be when it comes to the prison population. The interdiction efforts in the state, I think you had a number of $1.9 billion spent by the state of California on those issues. I don't know if that includes education issues as well as law enforcement interdiction, so that's something that you would want to clarify a little bit. On the tax issue, you're kind of conflating the amount of money that it brings in with the amount of money that we would get in tax. Yes, if we had 100% tax on marijuana and we taxed it at the same rate at which it was being sold, then maybe we could get $14 billion, but of course that would double the price of the marijuana. I don't know if it would sell as much in those situations, and I don't know if you'd be able to tax it under those circumstances, since that would create a huge underground... Oh wait, we already have a huge underground demand for marijuana. So how we get it into a legalized system needs to be explained. So you got to be a little bit careful about those things. Lose the gum. It's really distracting. Thank you.